Willie Nelson is known for his gentle voice, outlaw country style, and friendly smile. He has played with almost everyone in music, from Johnny Cash to Dolly Parton. But behind the soft image, Willie carried grudges, and there was one man who cut deeper than the rest, a man Willie said he could never forgive. Who was he? To understand this, we must look at the wild, chaotic road Willie walked during his rise. Fame didn't just bring fans, it brought betrayal. And Willie hated betrayal more than anything. This story isn't about music notes or guitars. It's about trust, broken promises, and a man who dared to cross Willie Nelson in a way no one else ever did. In the 1970s, Willie became the face of outlaw country. He wasn't polished like Nashville stars. He wore long hair, smoked weed openly, and sang about freedom. Fans loved his honesty. But in business, honesty was rare. Record labels cheated artists. Managers cut deals behind backs. Willie wasn't naive. He knew the game. Still, he believed in loyalty. If you were in his circle, you stayed true. And that's what made the betrayal sting so badly. The man he came to hate wasn't just an enemy. He had once been close. Willie's career exploded, but so did the money problems. He trusted people to handle his finances while he focused on music. He never lived like a millionaire. He gave to friends, supported his band, and cared for family. But when the IRS came knocking, Willie learned the truth. Millions of dollars in unpaid taxes. How? His financial advisor, a man he trusted, had mishandled everything. Willie thought it was bad business. But later he learned something worse. Betrayal wasn't an accident. It was planned. The man Willie came to despise was his longtime money manager. Willie thought of him as a friend, but he was nothing more than a con man in a suit. He had hidden the truth about taxes, stolen funds, and left W.I. to burn. The IRS seized Willie's property, raided his home, even took his beloved recording studio. Willie lost nearly everything. While he stood before the public, humiliated, the man who caused it all lived comfortably. That's when hatred took root. Fans saw headlines. Willie Nelson owes $16 million to the IRS. To the world, it looked like Willie had been careless. But behind the scenes, he was furious. He didn't just lose money, he lost dignity. His possessions were auctioned off, his guitars, his ranch, even family heirlooms. Neighbors came to bid on pieces of his life, all because of one man's lies. Willie smiled in public, but deep inside, the betrayal burned. This wasn't just financial failure. Willie discovered his money manager had deliberately cheated him. Instead of paying the IRS, he pocketed the money and ran. To Willie, it wasn't about dollars. It was about trust. Willie could forgive mistakes. He could forgive rivals in music. But he couldn't forgive betrayal from someone he once trusted like family. Most men would collapse. But Willie fought back the only way he knew, through music. He struck a deal with the IRS to release an album called The IRS Tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories. Every sale went directly to pay off debt. Fans rallied, buying records not just for the songs, but to help Willie recover. Slowly, he rose again. But even as his career healed, the bitterness never left. Willie could rebuild his fortune. He could rebuild his image, but he could not rebuild trust with the man who betrayed him. Willie rarely spoke publicly about his anger. He wasn't a man of shouting or revenge. Instead, his rage stayed quiet, almost invisible. But in interviews, when asked about trust, his words sharpened. "You never forget the ones who use you," he once said. Friends close to Willie whispered that this betrayal aged him more than the IRS debt itself. He hated the man, not for what he took, but for what he destroyed inside Willie's heart. Willie is famous for kindness. He forgave rivals. He forgave critics. He even forgave the IRS in time. But when it came to his former manager, forgiveness never came. He refused to speak his name, refused to let him back in. "You don't get second chances when you burn trust," Willie told a friend. Hate is a heavy word, but for Willie, it was the only one strong enough. Today, Willie Nelson is remembered as a legend, a storyteller, a survivor. But behind the laughter and music lies this hidden scar. The one man he truly hated left a shadow over his life. In the end, Willie turned his pain into strength. He played bigger shows, wrote deeper songs, and built a legacy no betrayal could erase. But if you ask who hurt him most, the answer is clear. It wasn't a rival singer. It wasn't the critics. It was the man who pretended to be a friend and proved to be the worst enemy Willie Nelson ever had. When the storm hit, many expected Willie to fall apart, but he wasn't alone. Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Waylon Jennings, his brothers in the Highwaymen, stood strong by his side. They knew the IRS trouble wasn't Willie's doing. These friendships reminded Willie of what true loyalty looked like. While one man betrayed him, others proved their worth. The contrast made Willie's hatred burn brighter. He knew what real friends looked like, and the betrayer was the opposite. The betrayal forced Willie to change how he lived. He stopped trusting blindly, watched every deal carefully, and learned the hard rules of business. But even with lessons learned, he never let go of the pain. In private conversations, Willie admitted that betrayal taught him more than success ever did. Yet he always ended those words with a sigh, because deep down, he wished he had never met the man at all. Some wounds never heal, and this one followed him for life. Over the years, people asked Willie if he ever confronted the man who caused his downfall. But Willie kept silent. He never shouted, never chased revenge. To him, silence was stronger. By refusing to speak the man's name, Willie stripped him of power. Yet in that silence lived the truth. Willie never forgave him, never forgot him, and carried that hatred until his final days. As Willie grew older, his music softened, his wisdom deepened, and his smile became even warmer. But when talk turned to betrayal, his voice grew cold. Willie preached love, kindness, and forgiveness. Yet even a man of peace has limits, and the man who betrayed him crossed that line forever. If there was anyone Willie Nelson truly hated more than anyone, it was him, the false friend who left scars deeper than any outlaw road, deeper than any IRS raid, and deeper than any heartbreak.